Good day, and welcome to the channel of SA Accounting Network. Today, I decided I'm going to have a talk with Coenraad van Beek. We met also by watching the YouTube channel. And so the main thing that we're going to be talking about today is the main thing about business rescue. I think there's a very grey area at the moment. There's been a lot of talks out in the news and nobody knows exactly how it works and where it fits into the picture. So that's why I decided to get in touch with Coenraad, and we're going to have a chat about this. Coenraad, do you want to introduce yourself quickly?
Hi, yes, I'm Coenraad van Beek. I'm a business rescue practitioner based here in Pretoria. I've been in business rescue for about 2 decades, first in corporate banking side, but in the last 2 years with my own practice. Thank you, Andre.
Okay, so I think what we're going to start off with is this business rescue thing. Is that something that's really, what is business rescue? I think that's probably the first question. You know, everybody hears about business rescue, but nobody knows actually what it is.
Yes, Heinrich, the aim of business rescue, and it's in the chapter 6 of the Companies Act, is to rehabilitate companies that's in financial distress. And doing that by restructuring the affairs of the company, that the likelihood that the company can continue is improved on a solvent basis. And the alternative is if you can't continue to restructure the company, that it's solvent after the restructuring, is that there is a better return for creditors and shareholders, hopefully, in liquidation.
Okay, and so let's quickly think. So how would I know as an owner of a small business? Let's say, for instance, I've got a restaurant and I've got maybe about 10 or 20 people working for me, maybe doing a turnover of about 5 million rand. What is the first sign? So what is it that I must look out for to decide, okay, now it's time to start looking at business rescue? Is there something that you just wake up one day and say, okay, now let's start the process, or how does this process start?
Heinrich, the Act talks about financial distress, and that's what you have to look out for. The directors have the obligation to, throughout the life of the company, assess if the company is financially distressed. Now, financial distress is if you are reasonably unlikely to pay your debts within the next 6 months. That's more on the liquidity side, and then also if there's a reasonable likelihood that you will be insolvent within the next 6 months, then the company side acts you are financially distressed.
Okay, and then let's say, for instance, in a situation where we're busy going through this COVID crisis at the moment, and you just decide that I remember at one case now, a client of mine whose lease is expiring now, and he just made the decision that, listen, you know, once his lease expires, he's just not going to continue with his lease. Would that be something that people can consider for business rescue, or would maybe just like closing the business, just going the liquidation route? Would that be a better option for somebody like that?
Well, it all depends on the financial position of the company, Andre. I mean, now with the COVID lockdown, it's a very good example. If we take that most of the businesses haven't been trading now for the last 3 months. Now, if you take the definition of financial distress and they say you have to take a forward view for the next 6 months, and whether you can pay your obligations in the next 6 months, or whether you will be solvent in the next 6 months. Now, obviously, there's a lot of small businesses that haven't paid some of the creditors already in the last 6 months. So technically, they already qualify as financially distressed, and the directors have to consider their options. Depending on when the lockout ends, if you can foresee that say for instance you're a restaurant or something, and you foresee that you open in the next month or so, and you will be able to start paying creditors again, I think then it's perhaps something different. But throughout the process, you have to assess your position. And at the moment, I think most businesses is in the unfortunate position where they have to say, where we sit today, financially distressed.
Yeah. And how do you start with the business rescue proceedings? If I decide, okay, today now I think my business is in distress, what's the first step? Do I just How does the process work, or where do we start? How do we start with the process?
Heinrich, if the directors assess the business position, they say, yes, we are financially distressed, and in terms of the act, they decide to pass a resolution to say our company is financially distressed. There's basically two things they have to consider. The one is to voluntarily file for business rescue at the CIPC. The alternative is to publish a section 1297 notice, what basically says that, yes, we know we're financially distressed, but for some reason we decide not to file for business rescue. And you have to give some motivation for that. Obviously, if you are obliged to file for business rescue because you're financially distressed and you decide to issue the 1297 notice, you do have the possibility that the directors will carry some personal liability if the company does not survive after the
process.
COVID. Yeah. Then also the alternative is any affected person, that's any creditor or employees or union or even the shareholders can approach court. That's not a voluntary process. You have to approach court through a formal court process and then ask the court to put the company in business rescue.
Okay. Yeah, and then that after I decided to put my business into business rescue, what is the process? How does the whole business rescue process work?
It starts with the determination of the directors that we are referred to just now. If the directors then say, yes, we are financially distressed, they file they pass the resolution. The first step is then to file that resolution at the CIPC. As soon as you file that resolution at the CIPC, it's normally done via email, the business rescue proceedings start. You then have 5 days from that day to notify all your creditors that the company has filed for business rescue, and also to appoint a business rescue practitioner, that's someone like myself now, to assist in the business rescue process. Once you've appointed then the business rescue practitioner, during that 5 days, you have 2 days to inform the creditors of the appointment of the business rescue practitioner. The business practitioner will then convene a meeting and preside over a meeting with the creditors and another meeting with the employees within the next 10 days. That's business days, so basically it's 2 weeks, where he will give them his first assessment whether there is a reasonable prospect to rescue the company. You will also allow time for creditors to submit claims. And creditors will also have opportunity to decide if they want to appoint a committee to liaise with the business rescue practitioner during the proceedings. After that, again, 25 days from appointment from the business rescue practitioners, the practitioner must publish a business rescue plan. Now, in the plan, there's quite a few requirements. We won't go into the detail today of the plan, but the plan will give the creditors and the employees and all the other affected persons, shareholders, the necessary information of what caused the financial distress, what is the plan that the practitioner put on the table to rescue the company. It will include background information, financial information, forecasting, things like that. So 10 days after the publication of the business rescue plan, then there will be another meeting, a second creditors meeting. And at that meeting, the creditors will vote on to approve the plan or amend the plan or decline the plan. You need 75% of voting creditors to approve the plan, of which 50% must be independent creditors. Once a plan is then approved, obviously then you get to the implementation phase. Depending on the plan, some of the plans is fairly short term, other plans is a couple of years that the plan might cover. But the practitioner will then start to implement the stipulations of the plan. Once the practitioner assesses that the plan has been what the Act calls substantially implemented, you can file again with the CIPC a notice of substantial implementation. And at that stage, the control moves back to the directors and the company comes out of business risk.
Okay. Another question that I've got here is, what is the impact on a business? The business rescue proceedings, what is the impact on the business itself?
There's a couple of areas that's impacted by business rescue proceedings. I think one of the main benefits of a formal business rescue is obviously the legal moratorium that the Act provides to the company, where basically creditors can't proceed with any legal action in any forum during the business rescue process without the practitioner's consent. So it does give you that leeway that you can develop a plan and put it forward to creditors and negotiate with them to see if you can rescue the company. So that's one of the material legal impacts. The other impact is the Act provides that the company can't dispose of property during the business rescue process, except if it's in the ordinary course of business, or if it's a bona fide transaction at the arm's length fair value, but then with the consent of the practitioner. Also, the business rescue plan can propose that some of the assets are disposed to as part of the restructure. And then obviously the third impact is on employees. I did see the other day your YouTube also on labor relations. It was interesting also just to tie it in here. In terms of business rescue, I mean, the Act provides that the employees continue to be employed on the same terms and conditions, except for the ordinary course of attrition and where employees agree to different terms and conditions. And then specifically, and with the SIA case that we have, business rescue that we have at the moment, you'll see in the press that one of the current legal disputes around the employees is the retrenchments in terms of Section 136(1)(b). That's currently on appeal, where it's all about the technical, when you need to give notice and the impact of that, and can you retrench or can't you retrench. So I mean, that becomes very technical in a business rescue. Also, if I have issues like that, I'll prefer to get the labor relations specialist in to deal that part of the work for me. And another one is the directors. I mean, the directors normally have control of the company. Now, the Act provides that in business rescue, the directors must continue to exercise the functions of a director, but under the authority of the business rescue practitioner. They also continue to manage the company, but again, at the direction of the business rescue practitioner. Things like Section 75, the requirements thereof remains intact, that the director must disclose his financial interests or any related person's financial interests as well. And also, if the board of directors or any single director takes any action on behalf of the company but doesn't have the approval of the business rescue practitioner during the proceedings, that action is void. So it gives the practitioner some protection if you have directors that act without your consent. Then also in terms of the shareholders, if there's any alteration of and classification of the issues, securities of the company, that's not in the ordinary course of the business, it's also invalid, except where a court directs that you can do it, or if a business rescue plan makes provision for that. If the business rescue plan makes provision for that, then and the shareholders' rights are affected, then the shareholders will also have to approve the business rescue plan. Then a further one is contract, existing contracts before business rescue. The practitioner is allowed to entirely or partially or only certain conditionally suspend a contract in certain cases where it's beneficial for the business rescue. And then also if you can cancel also certain contracts, but then you have to approach the court to get the contracts cancelled. If your contract is cancelled or suspended, the third party have a claim for damages as well after the business rescue proceedings ends.
Okay, yeah, that's quite a bit of information there. Yeah, but you can see that the business rescue process definitely has an impact, and I think there's definitely a certain amount of protection, for business as well. I think especially that thing we were talking about, the legal moratorium. That if you've got creditors chasing you down and they're phoning you day and night looking for money and stuff, as soon as you go into the business rescue process, then they have to stop legally with it, because everything is done through the business rescue practitioner from there on. So I think that is really quite a big benefit. So I personally also think that business rescue is a good thing. I think you have to do it well and you have to do it the right way. And I think that's obviously where, it's beneficial to get a specialist involved, somebody like Coenraad. And then, Coenraad, where can people get hold of you if they want to contact you, if this is something that they're interested in?
My company have a website. My company's name is Posibly with one S. It's on purpose. People also always ask me, should it be two S's, but it was meant to be one S. So it's www.possibly with one S.co.za. Yeah, and I can provide you my cell number and email address as well. The email address very simple, coenraad@possibly.co.za.
Yeah, I will also put the links and stuff on the video itself, and then in the description of the website as well. And then yeah, I think we covered everything that we wanted to cover today. I want to thank you once again for taking the time to come in to talk to us, and I'm sure that there will be a lot of people that will find a lot of benefit in this video. And to everybody watching as well, remember to like the video and to subscribe to the channel, because we obviously try and keep things relevant and see how best we can add value to small businesses out there. And yeah, just thank you once again for taking the time to come and talk to me today. And yeah, we'll see how it goes from here. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity, Andrew.
Okay, thanks.